Who are Afghanistani women, and why calling all of them Afghan women is wrong and political? I say Afghanistani women because it is more inclusive, and some other people have also started using it when referring to women of Afghanistan. I've talked about this issue over the years, but today I'll explain more why using the term Afghan women when referring to Afghanistani women is not only wrong, but misleading. It is so fundamental that it can sabotage the whole Afghanistani women's movement. When people talk about Afghanistani women, they normally say Afghan women, as if it represents all the women in Afghanistan. But this language is not neutral and it's not accurate. Let's see what the word Afghan means. Historically, socially, and politically, the word Afghan has always meant Pashtun, or Afghan or Awgho in spoken form. It has always meant Pashtun. Before moving forward, let me briefly explain the ethnic formation of people in Afghanistan, so you'll have a better idea who I'm talking about. There are over 30 ethnic groups in Afghanistan, and 4 of them are the majority, or 4 of these ethnic groups form the majority of the population. That include Pashtuns, Tajiks, Hazaras, and Uzbeks. Pashtuns, who speak Pashto and religiously are Sunni. Tajiks, who are Farsi speakers, and religiously the majority of them are Sunni. Hazaras, who are Farsi speakers, but religiously the majority of them are Shia. And Uzbeks, who speak Uzbeki, and religiously they are also Sunni. And there are other minorities like Turkmens, Aymaq, Pashtun, Nuristani, and so forth. So within Afghanistan, non-Pashtuns, who are the majority of the population, have never been called Afghan. I grew up in Afghanistan, and I have never heard anyone referring to a non-Pashtun as Afghan. The funny thing is that even Pashtuns themselves do not call non-Pashtuns Afghan. If they refer to Tajiks, they say Tajikan or Farsiwan. If they are talking about Hazaras, they say Hazaragan or Uzbekan. I grew up in Afghanistan, and I have never seen anyone referring to a non-Pashtun as Afghan. If you talk to a Pashtun about a non-Pashtun and refer them as Afghan, they will not understand. So when Western media, institutions, academia, and even activists call Afghanistani women as Afghan women, often unintentionally, what they're doing is imposing a Pashtun identity onto non-Pashtuns, which has significant negative consequences in the long term. Don't get me wrong, nobody has any problem with the Pashtun or Afghan identity. Of course not. Anyone has the right to identify with anything that they want. But when an identity is imposed on someone, it becomes problematic. Because identity is not just a label. It is tied to history, to power, and to violence. And Pashtuns have also been oppressed. They have also been the victims of the state power, but not due to their ethnic background, unlike non-Pashtuns. This is very important because if we go back to history, the Afghan state has historically been dominated by Pashtuns, many of whom were placed in power through the British colonial intervention. From its formation, the state has always acted against non-Pashtun communities. These includes documented genocides and massacres, like the Hazara genocide by Abdurrahman Khan in the late 1800s, or the genocide in Bamiyan and Mazar Sharif by the Taliban in late 1900s and early 2000s. These genocides have been documented, and interestingly enough, the Taliban are also Pashtun ethnically. For non-Pashtun women, in particular for Tajik and Hazara women, the relationship to the state and to power has never been the same as it has been for Pashtun. Because non-Pashtuns have experienced dispossession, land theft, forced displacement, and genocide by the state, which is represented by Pashtuns, precisely because they are not Afghan or Pashtun. So their understanding of history, their understanding of that political territory called Afghanistan, is very different from Pashtuns. So that is why the Afghan identity is a forced identity onto all non-Pashtuns, and it is tied to the machinery of oppression, and it silences other voices and other identities. So calling all Afghanistani women Afghan women does not unify them. It reproduces the same violence that marginalized them in the first place.